to the Outdoor Dog YouTube channel. Today we are talking about enrichment. Yes, we're talking about enrichment again. However, if you think about it, if you're part of our titling program, all of that is enrichment, right? Taking your dog on a hike is fantastic enrichment, where they can jump over logs or climb over rocks or sniff different things. It's all enrichment. Even training and playing with your dog are forms of enrichment. But today we're going to talk about some flavorful enrichment. So enrichment, if you watched any of our other videos here in Outdoor Dog, you will know that enrichment can increase your dog's well-being and decrease behavior problems that show up in your dog's life. If you want to learn more about what enrichment is, we do have a video all describing about different types of enrichment and what it does for your dog. I will add a link in the description below. So back to today's topic, flavorful enrichment. What are we talking about? Some people call this nutritional enrichment, dietary enrichment, food enrichment. It has a bunch of different names. However, the basics of it is that we're providing enrichment by introducing the dog to different flavors, different textures of food, and different smells. So it combines a lot of really cool stuff. I will say, before I start, part of enrichment is adding in new things. So new games or new food puzzles, things like that. For this, we'll actually be introducing new foods. Be very careful and talk to your veterinarian before you do any of this. I do have a kitty who I tried to do some of this with, but he has such a sensitive stomach that any addition of a new food has the potential of making him sick. So please talk to your veterinarian before you do this, and make sure you introduce it slowly. So now for the fun part. There's a couple of really cool ways that you can introduce those different flavors, textures, and smells in your dog's food. One is just rotating the different foods you use. I know some trainers who do this. They might buy a bag of one high quality dog food. Once they get through that, they then do a transition to a different high quality dog food. And they might have a couple different brands that they switch through. I actually ended up doing this a few years ago. I love feeding raw to my dogs, but I ended up switching to a kibble for a short period of time, and I've actually stayed on kibble because meat prices have gotten higher. But what I would do is just find what's on sale at a local pet store that had really, really amazing high quality dog food. I just get whatever was on sale and work on transitioning my dog to that food, and then we go back to our other one and go back and forth. So some people swear by it. When I was doing raw, what I would do is feed chicken meat, and then I'd feed beef. And then I just said chicken meat. Good grief. I would feed chicken, and then I would feed turkey, and then I would feed beef. So I would mix it up. Peter said that lamb is really not something that he will eat. He will not eat lamb meat, which is kind of funny. He also doesn't like duck. So now I try to avoid anything with lamb or duck in it because he just doesn't like it. Anyway, if you are already transitioning your food, or if this is something that you just don't want to do, there's some other cool things to do too. One of the things that I've been doing kind of most recently is switching what I'm adding to Peter's food. So just last week we did kefir. So I had a bottle of kefir and I gave him a little bit at each meal as just introducing it. This week we're on goat's milk, if you can see that. And I'm adding just a little bit of goat's milk at each meal. Both kefir and goat's milk have lots of health benefits for your dog. So some people feed this all year round, but for the purpose of enrichment, if you feed it all year round, it's not quite as enriching because it's not a new and different food. The other thing that I just bought these today, the sale tag is still on it. The other thing that I add to Peter's food sometimes is bone broth. Merrick's makes one that you can just get in this wonderful little container. So I'll add a little bit of that to Peter's food throughout the week, just to give him something different. And again, bone broth is great. It has lots of nutritional qualities to it. You can make your own bone broth too. So if I'm not adding something to Peter's food just to give him something different, I will often switch up my training treats. So some of my favorites that I like to use, Instinct makes some freeze-dried little meal mixers. They're kind of really expensive, but again, I got these on sale. They make great training treats, and they also have, you know, if you're using something like a meal mixer, or I actually use Ziwi Peak dog food as training treats too. It's a little bit more balanced. It's not like a junk food for your dog. So I do really like using these. I also just got at the store, I picked up some Merrick's Power Bites. Peter hasn't had these in a very, very long time. So again, because it's something different, it's something a little bit new, it can be enriching for him. The other treat that I started using, that's not gonna stay. We'll throw him in it. The other thing that I started using is buffalo tripe. It smells horrible. However, this is really, really high value. So when I do any husbandry for Peter, particularly I use this a lot for his teeth brushing. It's great to brush your dog's teeth every day. I will give him a piece of tripe afterwards, and it makes it really super fun because he knows he gets tripe right after he gets his teeth brushed. So that's another thing that I do to introduce a different texture, a different flavor, and a different smell. Smell and taste are so closely related for us too, not just for our dogs. So the great thing about this kind of enrichment is it hits a couple different sensations for your dog, which is really cool. All right, the other thing I do, which this I really love, is I will get, if I go to a pet store, I don't think like the big chains do this as much, but if I go to like a little pet store, a lot of times they will have little samples of food. So I will get a couple of samples and use as training treats. Or a lot of times what I'll do with these is I will put them in a remote treat trainer, like a treat and train or a pet tutor. They're just machines that pop out treats for your dog that are really beneficial in training because you can work distances and things like that. Today I even got this gigantic bag of free dog food. So again, I'll use these as treats. I'll mix it up a little bit. I'll throw them in Peter's treat and train so that he has some different flavors going in there. And again, it's a dog food. I think Nutrisource is pretty highly rated on Dog Food Advisor. I'll have to look. But it's a dog food, so it's not like I'm adding a bunch of junk into his, or like, it's, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, it's not like I'm adding candy into his life, right? Like we're adding really good, high quality things, but also getting this enrichment benefit out of it. The last thing that I want to talk about today is stuffing like a Kong or some sort of toy that your dog can lick the food out of. A lot of people use peanut butter for their dogs to lick out of Kongs or something else. We actually have this little, it's kind of like a Kong, it's this little purple unicorn that you stuff with treats. It's adorable. But anyway, so a lot of people use peanut butter to give their dog and have the dog lick the peanut butter out of the Kong or another food toy. It takes them a while, and licking is really great for them because it can kind of help relieve some stress. However, if you look on the back of the peanut butter, it's pretty high in calories. And we want to make sure our outdoor dogs are at a really good healthy weight so that they can live a longer life and be able to go on our outdoor adventures with us more often and longer, you know, as they age. Hopefully they'll be able to do more with us. So the calories is something that I kind of take into consideration when I'm doing these types of things. So the one thing, oh, Dewey has come to say hello and sniff all the great treats. The one thing that I started doing, it can be a little bit more expensive, but I will buy like a high quality dog food in a pate form, so canned. This is from pate, and I will get a couple different flavors, and I'll go ahead and stuff Peter's Kong with the dog food and freeze it. And then maybe I just don't give him as much of his meal that day because he's gotten some dog food out of the Kong. But again, you still get them, you know, they're busy, they're licking the food out of the Kong. If you freeze it, it lasts so much longer for them to lick it out. So that's something I do. I also found these the other day. It's like these little treats that fit in the toy, like the Kong, you just stick it in the end, and it kind of didn't take Peter that long to get it out, but it's another type of nutritional enrichment, right? It's something different that has a different flavor, texture, and smell to it that can go in their Kong. Some of the other, this is Harvey, he's a foodie. He wants to eat all this. Some of the other things that I do with Peter to give him a little bit of nutritional enrichment is if I make something that he can eat a little bit out of, maybe I'll give him a piece. Usually I'll ask him to do a behavior that he knows, or I'll save it for like a really special occasion where, you know, throughout the day he does something really, really great. I'll give him a piece of that food. For example, yesterday I made sweet potato fries, and I made them myself, so I knew what was in it. There wasn't, I just threw them in the oven. There was just a little bit of olive oil on them. And I gave him just a little bit of sweet potato. So again, something that's pretty healthy for them that we can kind of just change up what they're getting. The reason we're talking about all this is because it's cold outside for a lot of folks in the US now. Tonight it's supposed to get down to 7 degrees here in Pennsylvania, which is very cold, so we are not going outside to do these things. But these types of things can help kind of give your dog something else to do, especially if you put it in like a Kong or you use these as training treats, and it can just help enrich your dog's life, right? Some dogs, unfortunately, they can only eat a certain kind of kibble, or they have allergies, something like that, where they're unable to experience tons of different foods. But if you're able to, you know, switch around, play with it, see what your dog likes, see what you can kind of incorporate into their day while keeping in mind that they need to also maintain a really healthy weight. Let me know what you guys think and what you guys do. Write in the comments what kind of flavorful enrichment that you do with your dogs. Also, if you would like to earn awards with your dogs doing the things you love, like hiking, boating, swimming, walking, doesn't have to be in some big state park. You can do it right in your neighborhood. You can join our award program by visiting www.outdoor-dog.org. I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.